Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for a very special and exciting Ponant webinar. My name is Anna. I'm an Industry Relations Manager here at CLIA, and I'm going to just quickly go through some housekeeping before introducing our presenters. The webinar will run about 35 minutes with time for questions at the end. Please feel free to type your questions into the questions module of the webinar, and we'll get to them at the conclusion of the presentation. The webinar is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, which is CLIA Global. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our presenters, Preston Caddell and David Schoenberg. Preston is Director of Business Development Central Region for Ponant and is based in Dallas, covering Central Southern US and the Midwest. He has been with Ponant for 3 years and used to work on board ships at Disney and Seabourn. And joining Preston is David, Director of Business Development Southwest for Ponant, who is based in Southern California, covering the Southwestern US. David is new to Ponant in 2022 and has been in the industry for 25 years. He started as a travel advisor and has been a sales manager for several small ship luxury cruise lines. And with that, take it away, Preston and David.
All right, Anna, thank you so much, and good morning or good afternoon to everybody out there from who are joining us today. This should be a very informative, quick but informative webinar. And Preston, if you want to just say hello, we can end the introductions here.
Absolutely, David. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. And thank you, everybody, for being with us today. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm Preston. I'm based out of Dallas. I'm the Central Director of Business Development. And I'll pass it back to David.
All right. Thank you, Preston. And let's get started. So a quick little history lesson about Ponant. We've been in business since 1988. We started with just one small ship. And then fast forward to 2022, where we are today, we now have a fleet of 12 luxury expedition vessels. And we do travel to over 450 ports of call on all 7 continents. So quite a large expansion in a short amount of time. So Ponant is where luxury meets experiential. We offer authentic experiences and unprecedented explorations. And there is a difference between expedition and exploration. And on some of our cruises, we actually don't know exactly where we're going to end up because it all is based on conditions, weather, and other factors as well. So they truly are exploration cruises. We offer access to unique destinations. With some of our ships, we can go to places that no other luxury cruise line can visit, such as the geographic North Pole. And we offer one-of-a-kind experiences both on and off the ships. We can offer things like kayaking and zodiacking off the ship, and there are many one-of-a-kind experiences, even like a polar plunge into the icy waters of the Arctic. We have expedition experts who are leaders in their field. They've been with us, many of them, for more than a decade, and these are some of the best expedition leaders that you could find anywhere. And we also offer eco-friendly navigation. What it basically means is we have special software in navigating to do everything we can to help the environment and help avoid everything from whale strikes to just encounters that would be bad for the environment. So a lot of positive things all about Ponant here. Ponant offers both expedition and a luxury small ship cruise environment. And so not to really compare us with others, we really are able to do both with one cruise line. And our cruise ships range between 32 and 264 guests. And they're all new purpose-built ships. So we don't purchase anyone else's hardware. Each ship was designed by Ponant for Ponant. And each time we build new ships, the ships get better and more environmentally friendly. We've been environmentally friendly from day one. And each ship we learn and we build better ships the next time. We offer naturalists on board. We have zodiacs on all of our ships to help enhance the visits to some of the the regions that we travel to. And there are cultural experts on board as well. We offer many experts that come on board for entire cruises to offer lectures and enrichment throughout the cruise. All of our ships offer large public space, which allows for viewing when we are in an area where there is wildlife or beautiful scenery. And so designing the ships with lots of glass and open space is definitely something that we were intending to do, and it's not just an accident. For a small ship luxury cruise line, we offer an open bridge, which is unique and not always found in the luxury market. And it's a nice way to interact with the crew and the captain and really see how the ship operates. And on board, we do offer luxury accommodations, which is very important to your clients when they're traveling in some of the more harsh regions of the world. They can still feel like they are being taken care of in full luxury. And one of the things that you'll notice on our ships is most of the staterooms start at about 200 square feet. So there's no tiny staterooms. Everything is really luxurious and a very good size as well. And we offer unique and remote destinations, as well as well-traveled destinations. So besides cruises to the Arctic and Antarctica, we have cruises right through the heart of the Mediterranean and go to places that a lot of your clients would be desiring to go to as well. So it's a very well-rounded amount of different places that we travel to. So let's take a quick look at the fleet. I did mention we have 12 small luxury ships. Looking on the upper left, La Commandant CHARCOT. She just joined us about a year ago, and she is our luxury polar icebreaker. She can do things that no other icebreaker in the luxury category can do because of the way she's built. And we'll go into her in a little more detail in a couple of minutes. On the upper right, you'll see our 4 sister ships, and these ships hold up to 264 guests. 95% of them are balcony cabins, and you'll find these ships roaming the world anywhere from the polar regions to the Mediterranean. Then we have on the lower left the 6 Explorer class ships. These were recently built between 2018 and 2020. These ships also can go all over the world. They do it with only 184 guests, and these ships' staterooms are 100% balcony staterooms. Last but not least, our original Le Ponant sailing ship. She was the one that started it all back in 1988. She holds just 32 guests and is absolutely perfect for small groups and charters. If you have a nice family group, it's just the perfect ship to charter. And also she goes to a lot of exotic destinations and places that people really want to sail. And so she's a sailing ship that you can sail in places like the Seychelles Islands and the Kimberley region of Australia are some of the places that we take her. And so I believe with that, I'm going to pass this back to Preston, who can go into a little more detail on all of our ships.
Thank you, David. And now we'd like to show you some of the interior areas of our beautiful vessels. And we'll start with our sister ships, La Boreal, La Austral, La Soleil, and La Lyreal. So there's 132 staterooms and suites, up to 264 guests. In Antarctica, we only carry 199 guests as a maximum and 95% private balcony. So one thing I like to point out about Ponant is that the interior of the vessels are beautiful. They're very symmetrical. As David mentioned earlier, you're able to see outside from anywhere in the vessel, whether it's from a stateroom or a public area. And that has a couple of different functions. It allows natural sunlight to flood into the vessel and really illuminate the areas around the ship beautifully. I like to say there's a nice understated elegance to the interior of a Ponant ship. And it also allows you to see outside. Our vessels being as small as they are, they dock in a lot of non-conventional ports. They can go a lot closer to a lot of these wonderful destinations than bigger cruise lines can, just because they're so much smaller that they can go into narrower channels. So it's important to be able to see outside even if you're on the ship. So that's something that we put a lot of emphasis on. So on the top left-hand side, you have our outdoor lounge. So this is an area where you can just relax. This is a nice view of the back of the vessel, the aft part of the vessel. That's a shot of our infinity whirlpool where you can get some exercise in the morning. And directly next to that is the patio lounge, which is one of our outdoor dining areas. So that's a little bit more of a casual area, weather permitting. If you'd like to eat outdoors, then that's the area where you would do that. On the bottom left-hand side is a shot of our spa, which is provided to us by one of our partners, Satis. This is located on deck 9, and we have spa and massage rooms available. And on the right-hand side, you have the observation lounge. We have 2 lounges on board Ponant vessels. We have the main lounge and the observation lounge. The main lounge is located on deck 4. It's the main social hub of the vessel. It's where the largest bar on the ship is. That's where live entertainment is. That's where the biggest dance floor is. But this observation lounge is a little bit different. It's meant more for contemplation and for great viewings. It's located in the forward part of the ship, just above the bridge. And you can't really see it here, but there's a beautiful patio that stretches out past those windows. This is the best area on the vessel, in my opinion, to be on whenever you're going in and out of ports. It gives you a great view of the places where you're going to. It also gives you just great views of the front of the ship. A lot of our guests like to come in here after tours to kind of just relax and wind down and kind of think about what they've seen that day. On the sister class ships, there's a piano in here as well, so this becomes a piano lounge in the evening. But by and large, it's a quieter area, just meant more for relaxing and for great views. So on the right-hand side is one of our staterooms, and on the top left-hand side is one of our suites. Our staterooms and our suites are all very comfortable. They have those wonderful balconies that stretch the length of the room. They're very flexible accommodations. All of the beds can be turned from twins into singles. There's very large restrooms, and even though you can't see it here in select staterooms, you can actually see outside from the restroom, which is interesting. There's a mini bar in all of our staterooms and suites. The sizes range from about 204 square feet up to about 400 square feet for our suites, and then it goes up to about 650 square feet for our owner's suite. If you're in one of our suites, you get an additional service, which is a butler service as well. In all honesty, my favorite part of the staterooms is the balcony. It's wonderful to have. There's no interior staterooms in Ponant, so regardless of what category you're in, you get a chance to walk outside and really enjoy that outdoor space. On the bottom left-hand side, you have our theater. And there's a couple of different things that happen in our theater. We do have shows. They're original productions conducted by our entertainment team. Those are normally original shows. The last time I was on a ship, it was based off of locations like New York City and Paris. That entertainment team, after they finish their show in the evening, they go into the main lounge and they entertain our guests. So the entertainment doesn't just stop at the theater. In addition to that, Ponant is a very experiential cruise line. We put a lot of emphasis on guest lectures, and our expedition staff can serve as lecturers as well. Those are held here in the theater. And this, of course, is also where our master drill is done. And it's also where we show films and other things as well. There's tastings in here. So there's a lot that goes on in the theater. So that was our sister class vessel. Now I'd like to show you our Explorer class vessel. And these 6 ships, as David mentioned, are all very new. They are Le Laperoux, Le Champlain, Le Bougainville, Le Dumont d'Urville, Le Belot, and Le Jacques Cartier. Le Belot and Le Jacques Cartier were actually debuted post-COVID in 2020 on schedule. These are smaller vessels, only 184 guests maximum, 100% private balcony, 92 staterooms and suites. These are very flexible ships. They go all over the world. They do some of our tropical expedition itineraries in places like the Kimberleys in Western Australia and the Seychelles. And they also do a lot of our traditional yachting itineraries in destinations such as the Caribbean, various parts of North America, the Mediterranean, the Greek Isles, the Baltic, and so on. So this is a shot of our owner's suite, which is about 650 square feet, and there's only one owner's suite per vessel. It's located in the aft part of the ship next to the Grand Deluxe suite. There's some amenities that go with the owner's suite in addition to just being a larger size. It's got the largest balcony of any of our staterooms. There's a hot tub there. There's also spa treatments that come with the owner's suite, as well as transfers from the airport to the ship, and a few other amenities as well. So if you have a client looking to travel in luxury and with the most space possible, you're going to want to look at the owner's suite first. This is one of our prestige staterooms. So this is a smaller size, but as you can see, still very, very comfortable. There's a slightly different color palette on each of the vessels to distinguish them. What I like about our staterooms is that there's not a lot of paint. It's very simple and elegantly laid out so that there's a lot of space to move around. So even in some of the smaller categories, they're very, very comfortable. On the top left-hand side is a shot of our main lounge, which I had mentioned earlier. So that's located on deck 4. When you walk onto a Ponant vessel, the first thing you'll see is a guest service desk, the Shorex desk, and the shop. When you turn to your right, you enter the main lounge, and this is kind of the main social hub of the vessel. So in the evening, our guests like to congregate in here and get to know their fellow passengers. There's live music. The entertainment team will come in and entertain. There's the largest bar on board as well. During the day, whenever there's not active entertainment, there's all sorts of pastries available for snacking as well. So just because it's not mealtime doesn't mean you can't find something good to nibble on. There's a lot of those available in both of the lounges. We have a lot of wonderful luxury partnerships like La Durée macarons, so those are very high quality. Essentially, this is just where you'll come to say hi to everybody. On the bottom left-hand side, you have another shot of our observation lounge, so you can kind of see the contrast between them. The observation lounge is a little bit smaller. It's on the other side of the vessel. The views, I would say, are probably a little bit more spectacular in terms of seeing the most amount of outdoor space possible. So they really are both very nice spaces and each different from the other. And on the right-hand side, you have a shot of our spa, which is provided to us by our partner Sothis. So even here in the spa, you're able to see outside and get those beautiful views as well. And with that, I will pass it back to David, who's going to give you a little bit more information about where we sail.
All right, thank you, Preston. And I absolutely love that shot of the sauna with the giant window. That's absolutely fantastic. So Ponant travels to all 7 continents, and it's almost easier to tell you where we don't travel to, because there are very few of those places. We don't travel currently to the Galapagos, and you won't find us on the rivers of the world, but you will find us on all 7 continents. And about 25% of what we do are polar expedition cruises, so between the Arctic and the Antarctic. Another 25% of what we do will be European cruises, so in the Mediterranean, the UK, and Northern Europe. And then the other 50% of where we go is scattered across the world. You'll find us in Australia and the Oceania region, and you'll find us in the Indian Ocean, calling on places like the Seychelles and Madagascar. And you'll find us right here in the Americas, in places like the Panama Canal in Costa Rica. And surprising to a lot of our travel advisors who don't know us that well, you will find us right up in the Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence Seaway and in the northeastern United States. So we also offer cruises that are close to home as well, and they're actually doing quite well this year and next year in sales. So that is pretty much where we go. Ponant has been named environmentally friendly cruise line. We are the #1 cruise line that is environmentally friendly, and we have many different attributes that allow us to become the winner of that award. I'm going to touch on a couple of them here, because we can actually do an entire webinar just based on our sustainability practices and a lot of the things that you see here on the list. But I want to mention a couple of them. So the environmental impact assessment team is really unique. We actually send out a team of folks from Ponant to assess the destinations when we're going to a new place. So for example, if we were going to go to a new place in Greenland that we haven't traveled to, we would send a team. The team would go out and meet with locals and find out basically if everything that we have planned for this particular trip will not impact them in a negative way. And then we go ahead and we implement the cruise. We go and we do what we're going to do. And then when we're done with the cruise, we'll send that impact assessment team back to evaluate how that went and try to make any improvements and changes and see that we haven't harmed the environment or done anything that would be something that the local folks there did not want us to do. So it's really all about working together with the places that are unique and off the beaten path that we haven't been to before. The second one is our electric propulsion system. It really is nice that it allows us to go to places and switch to our electric power. So if there is a wildlife sighting, maybe a polar bear, you would hear absolutely nothing coming from the ship as far as the sound. But when you have the electric propulsion system, it allows us to operate the ship without any noise pollution whatsoever. And I'm going to skip down and talk about one more. Why don't we talk about dynamic positioning? And by not dropping anchor in sensitive areas like on reefs, that keeps us from harming the environment. And that way we can be environmentally friendly while still allowing our guests to enjoy a particular area. And with that said, I'm going to move on to the next slide so we don't spend all day here. I want to talk more about what is included with a Ponant cruise. So on Ponant, we include all of your meals on board, and gratuities are included. All the port fees and taxes are also bundled in there as well. We have open bar, and it's not just with meals, it is 24 hours a day. We have 24-hour room service available as well. There is butler service, as Preston mentioned, in some of the suite categories. And we do have unlimited Wi-Fi on all of our ships. When our clients are on an expedition, the shore landings via the Zodiacs are always included. And then we have Smithsonian JOURNEYS departures, which I'll talk about in just a minute. And on these departures, we do include shore excursions in every port of call. And while on polar expeditions, our guests receive a wonderful Ponant parka, which they get to both use while on board to keep them warm and then keep as a souvenir. We also allow them to borrow the boots, so when they go out on land or the ice floes, they can stay nice and warm and dry. I'd like to talk just briefly about our Smithsonian JOURNEYS product. This is a collaboration between Smithsonian and Ponant, and it's really there to offer an enriched and curated experience for the North American traveler, and it focuses on the culture and the history of the natural world. And we do this in destinations worldwide, so it's not just in one particular destination. When going on a Smithsonian Journey cruise with Ponant, it includes 2 experts that come on board from Smithsonian, and they're on board to lecture and hold discussions on board with the guests. We include the shore excursions in every port of call, and then airport transfers are included as well. Optional pre and post packages available, and group space is available, but these cruises sell so well on Ponant right now that it's really something that you would need to consider looking at group space well in advance as soon as the cruises are released for sale, because these have been some of our most popular cruises that we offer. And the places that we go, again, are worldwide, so you can do a Smithsonian Journey cruise to the Arctic, but you can also do one in the Great Lakes, and you can do one just as well in the Mediterranean. So there's lots of destinations to choose from. And with that, I think it's time to pass it back to Preston to talk about some really exciting Caribbean itineraries.
Thank you, David. And the Smithsonian Journey program has been very successful for us. It's been a wonderful alliance and something that we're continuing on to 2023. So we have increased the number of Caribbean and Central American sailings in recent years. So now we're offering a lot of different wonderful voyages under the Caribbean sun. And I'd like to go over a few of them with you just to show the variety of what we have. So our sailings have a nice mixture of geographic beauty and city visits. So you get a little bit of everything. And we'll start with one of our most common itineraries, that being the Pearls of the Caribbean. And these sailings will all be aboard our Ponant Explorers. So those are the 6 new vessels that have 184 passengers. And they also have the Blue Eye Lounge, which we'll show you a little bit later. But that's a very important feature. It'll really allow you to enhance your experience in the Caribbean, because that Blue Eye Lounge allows you to see wildlife in a whole different way. And as you know, the Caribbean is famous for its underwater beauty, both geographic and in terms of wildlife and the variety of the fish that you see. So it's a really great area of the world to take advantage of that. The Pearls of the Caribbean is a round-trip 8-night sailing from Fort de France, and you have the opportunity to visit a few different UNESCO heritage sites here. So you get St. Lucia, as well as its 2 rocky peaks. This is really a sailing through the West Indies, so you'll get to experience those sandy beaches, those seabeds, as well as the local way of life. You visit the Grenadine Islands, which is considered to be one of the world's most stunning archipelagos, and then you get a private beach and a private barbecue on Maori Island. And in addition to that, you'll also get to visit the capital of St. George in Grenada. It's a very picturesque town with a lot of beauty. So you get both geography and civilization as well. And we get a lot of questions about diving, and there is the possibility of diving with an instructor. Now, this is weather permitting, of course, but if that allows us to, and you have the proper certification, we actually provide that equipment on board. So we'll provide the wetsuit, the tank, and what you need to go diving, as well as the actual instructor on board to escort you. Those dives typically last between 2 to 3 hours, but that really depends on where you are and your level of expertise. Some can be a bit shorter than that if it's in a more difficult location, or if you just have to travel to get there. But if you are a diver or you like to snorkel, then you will have the opportunity to do that with us in the Caribbean. Now, if you'd like to spend a little bit more time in the Caribbean, 8 days is not quite enough, then this is a recommended itinerary, the Essential of the Caribbean. And there's a lot of different sites that you see here. It's a very busy itinerary. And this is also a round trip Fort de France, 12 nights aboard one of our Ponant Explorers. So this is a cruise in the heart of the West Indies. You're going to visit 10 islands on this cruise. So Martinique, St. Kitts, Anguilla, the British Virgin Islands, St. Bart's, Dominica, Guadeloupe, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, Grenada, and St. Lucia. So there's a lot of variety here. You do get to visit UNESCO World Heritage Site as well, Brimstone Hill Fortress National Park in St. Kitts, as well as Morne-Troy Pitons National Park in Dominica, and the Rocky Peaks of St. Lucia, like the previous itinerary. You also spend more time in the British Virgin Islands, which has its beautiful white sandy beaches, and in Dominica, you also visit the National Park of Cabrit's and Fort Shirley. Now, these essential itineraries have guest speakers as well, and it's a different person depending on which sailing that you take. So you also have the opportunity to be educated about this part of the world and learn about its fascinating Creole heritage. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more variety, you don't just want to spend your time in all the Caribbean islands. We have a lot of sailings that visit Central and South America, and even a lot of sailings that combine them. So this itinerary, Panama, Colombia, and the Caribbean islands, actually combines all three. It's a 12-night sailing from Colón in Panama to Fort de France. And these sailings, some of them have our no single supplement policy, which we'll cover a little bit more later. But quickly, basically we waive the single supplement upcharge. So if you have a solo traveler wanting to visit the Caribbean, this is a wonderful way for them to do it and not have it be cost prohibitive. So this sailing is a cruise between Central America and the West Indies. It's going to explore the Caribbean Sea and its many cultural influences in detail. You get a lot of different UNESCO World Heritage Sites, not just in the Caribbean, but in Central America as well. You also get that private barbecue and the private beach on Mairo Island. In Panama, you'll have the opportunity to learn about the crafts and traditions of the Kuna people in those San Blas Islands. And if you've never been to the San Blas Islands before, I can't recommend it enough. It's an absolutely stunning destination. And in addition to that, you have another opportunity in Kingston. You get the opportunity to visit the magnificent Botanic Gardens and enjoy a catamaran trip with views over La Sofria volcano. So you get a volcano sighting in here as well. So in addition to visiting Central America and South America with the Caribbean, you can also combine a Caribbean visit with Mexico and see some beautiful Mexican destinations here as well. You'll have the opportunity to visit Tulum as a pre-cruise option. And then from there, you're going to have the opportunity to cruise to 4 Central American countries that are going to have a wonderful combination of history and geographic beauty. You visit Campeche, the pre-Columbian city of Ixmal. You get to see Tikal by plane, and the archaeological park and the Mayan ruins of Curago. So as you can see, there's a lot of history of those great Aztec and Inca empires in this itinerary as well. And of course, you get to see the famous Great Blue Hole in Belize, and you'll have the opportunity to do some diving and some snorkeling on this itinerary as well. If you want to spend more time in the Yucatán itself, from Progreso, you'll get the opportunity to visit Mérida, which is the capital of the state of the Yucatán. It's renowned for its cultural heritage, as well as the Mayan city of Ixmal, which has a lot of wonderful historical sites as well. So this itinerary focuses a little bit more on Central America, even though it does visit the Caribbean Sea as well. So this is Caribbean mosaic between mangroves and lagoons. So as you can see from the title, there's going to be a lot of natural beauty. The opportunity to sail through mangroves on kayaks, which is absolutely beautiful. This is a round trip from Belize City on our Ponant Explorers. So this is a brand new expedition cruise, which means that you have expedition landings in this itinerary as well. So unlike a traditional yachting cruise where you would take a tender off of the side of the vessel, you'll be taking the zodiacs from the aft part of the vessel. So you have the opportunity to really get to explore a lot of these little nooks and crannies and all these little rivers in detail, because zodiacs can go to a lot of different destinations that the tenders cannot. So here you'll have the opportunity to visit the Belize Barrier Reef with Half Moon Cay and the Great Blue Hole. You have an encounter with the Garifuna people, which has a very fascinating history. They're a mixture of freed slaves and native Caribbean and Arawak people. You get to learn about their cultural traditions, essentially, get to try their food, and just really get to learn more about the history of the area. And you'll get to learn more about the pre-Columbian Mayan civilization and its cultural heritage as well. So we do have some sailings with Smithsonian Journeys in this part of the world. This is cruising the Caribbean's Windward Islands with Smithsonian Journeys. So what makes this voyage a little different from the other Caribbean sailings is that there are going to be select shore excursions included in this itinerary, even though it's a yachting itinerary, not an expedition. And there's also going to be guest lectures. Smithsonian is going to be providing 2 lectures to us, both experts in their field. We have those lecturers listed as well. That's going to include a Caribbean historian, Franklin Knight, and an international relations expert, Ralph Nurnberger. And of course, aside from the immersive experience that you'll get sailing with Smithsonian, you're going to get a wonderful itinerary as well. A lot of the landings that we discussed earlier, those beautiful beaches, the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, St. Lucia, Barbados. So it's going to be a wonderful itinerary, both informative and a lot to see. So I know this is not in the Caribbean, but it is a notable sailing because it is in North America. This is our voyage along the Great Lakes. So we are increasing the number of sailings in the Great Lakes. We've been there for a while, but starting in 2023, we're going to be offering more itineraries than before. So if you have clients in the Midwest who want a luxury cruise that's a little easier to get to, then this is a wonderful option for them. This is a very popular itinerary for us. So the sailings are on our Ponant Explorers. This year it's going to be the Dumont d'Urville, and in 2023 it'll be the Dumont d'Urville and Le Below. These sailings go from Toronto to Milwaukee or vice versa, Milwaukee to Toronto. You get to touch all 5 Great Lakes of North America, and you can also opt for an optional cruise for the magnificent Niagara Falls as well. You get to visit charming Mackinac Island with its preserved Victorian architecture. I was just in Mackinac Island a few weeks ago with my in-laws, and it is a beautiful, beautiful place. I was very, very impressed. If you haven't been there, it's very charming. We are going to be having a Smithsonian Journeys voyage with the Great Lakes as well. So you'll have the opportunity to experience one of our Smithsonian Journey cruises. And essentially, this is just a great itinerary that's gotten great reviews from a lot of the guests who've sailed on it. So we are increasing these in 2023. So we've just released some new 2024 North American itineraries to go with the Great Lakes, and I won't go over all of these in detail. I just want to show a few of the different options that we have. So if you'd like to sail on the eastern seaboard, we have that option as well, from Quebec to the Big Apple, which goes from Montreal to New York, a 13-day sailing. That's on the L'Oreal, which is one of our sister class vessels. And as you can see, there's some very interesting interesting ports in this itinerary. There are other options in the American Great Lakes as well. Then, of course, you can sail along the St. Lawrence, which will spend most of its time in the heart of Canada, and French Canada in particular, and then an expedition between Lake Michigan and Lake Superior. So in addition to those North American sailings, there are other sailings in other parts of the world as well. On the left-hand side is actually a Caribbean itinerary, Caribbean mosaic between mangroves and lagoons. And that's a new itinerary for us. So we've got a few different options there. And then we have the French Riviera to the Turkish Riviera, so one of our popular European sailings. And then the Wonders of the Orient. This is always a popular itinerary for us. This one goes from Antalya to Aqaba. That's going to be on the Jacques Cartier, which is one of our Explorer class vessels. And then on the right, you have a round trip from Athens, the Jewels of the Aegean Sea. So that'll also be on the Bougainville, one of our explorers. So there are a lot of options in Europe as well as North America. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to David so he can show you my favorite part of a Ponant ship, the Blue Eye Lounge.
All right, Preston, thanks so much. And thanks for sharing those Caribbean itineraries. You've got me wanting to jump on board some of those, and really like those unique small ports that we go to, and typically places you won't see any large ships. So that's the beauty of small ship cruising in the Caribbean. So as Preston mentioned, we have the Blue Eye Underwater Lounge. It's a feature that is only available on Ponant, and it's only available on our 6 Explorer class vessels. This lounge is actually under the waterline. You have to take an elevator down to get to her. You can see the large window out on the side there, and that's basically a window out into the sea. So it's like being in an aquarium, and we have these actual sound pickups outside that can pick up these sounds of sea life, such as whales and dolphins up to 3 miles away. And then inside, you've got a multi-sensory feel to it with lights and different vibrations, things that you will feel while you're in there. And as Preston said, it's very unique. So let's show a quick little video of what that experience would be like in the Blue Eye Underwater Lounge. Absolutely fantastic experience in there, and I'm sure your guests will appreciate that as well. One of the other great features of the Explorer class ships is the trifold submersible marina. As you can see, there's a Zodiac pulling right up there. So when you're on a nice warm weather expedition cruise in a place like the Caribbean, you can actually pull the Zodiac right up to that platform, and it can be leveled just perfectly so the guests don't have any issues in stepping in or out of the Zodiac, and it's just super convenient. And that marina can actually be used also as a swim platform in areas where it's safe to just go out and go for a swim right off the back of the ship, or use some of the water toys that we carry on board. So just a great feature of these wonderful vessels. So let's pivot here just for a moment and talk about Le Commandant CHARCOT. I know we've been talking about all these wonderful warm weather destinations in the Caribbean, but it's hard to not talk about Le Commandant CHARCOT because she is so special. And she is our new luxury polar icebreaker. She is the most powerful icebreaker in the market today. She was just built last year and has been sailing just over a year with us. She holds just 234 guests and is a Class 2 icebreaker, which means she can go to places that no other luxury ship can currently go today. And she's got a unique power system. She's a hybrid, and she's powered both by liquid natural gas and electric power, which, we talked about the benefits of having the electric power when you're on an expedition earlier. She also has some other nice features like an Ozipod propulsion system, which allows her to maneuver unlike any other type of vessel. She has special ice routing software, which again helps in getting to the destinations without going through ice that would be too thick. And there are many activities that she offers both on and off the ship. You know, things like the Zodiacs and the kayaks off the ship. You can do everything from that to a polar plunge in certain places. But on board, this ship is special. We have 2 science labs that Ponant built on this ship. And these labs, we invite scientists and researchers from around the world to come on board and use our labs and use our equipment to be able to really do some serious experiments in places that they typically could not easily get to. And the beauty of this is not only are we allowing these researchers to do their experiments, but we allow our guests on board to participate in what we call our citizen science program. So it's not only allowing them to learn about the science that they see being done on board, but they actually get to help and experience some of these science experiments. So truly interactive and a truly special experience on board Le Commandant CHARCOT. And because of her special hull and her special features that I just talked about, she can go to some really unique destinations. Currently, she's been 4 times this year to the geographic North Pole. So she really creates an experience for people who are looking for true bucket list destinations that their friends and neighbors have certainly not gone to. And currently she's sailing I believe along the Northwest Passage, heading from Europe all the way over across Canada to Alaska. And you'll find her mainly in the polar regions. And she has just some of the most unique itineraries of any expedition type ship within our company or any other company out there. So if your clients are looking for something special, Le Commandant CHARCOT is something to look into. And so I will move along here. And I want to mention to you that we do have a Ponant Academy online. It is a training course that you can take. Once you take the class, it won't take you that long. It'll be less than an hour. And you'll take the quiz, and once you pass the quiz, you'll be eligible for a $100 Amazon gift card as soon as you sell your first cruise within 4 months of completing the course. At Ponant, we have many different offers and specials that are available for your clients. I'd like to just review a couple of them here. The first time traveler credit is a $300 per person discount that comes right off the cruise price. And so if your clients have never been on Ponant, they can deduct $300 right off the top of the cruise price. And even if they have been on Ponant, we'll have other offers like a 5 or a 10% discount, depending on how many times they've cruised with us. We have children sail free, which means if they're 11 years of age or younger, they can sail just for the port taxes. And if they're teenagers, they can sail for 50% off of the cruise fare. The Ponant bonus fare is something that allows them to save up to 30% off the brochure rate. And the way we price our cruises is when we put a cruise out for sale, let's say about 2 years in advance, they are typically priced with a 30% discount off of the brochure rate. Your clients who book early will save the most. And then as the cruise starts to fill up, that discount will go from 30 to 25 and then 20. And eventually, as the ship is close to being full, there'll be no more discount and they will have to pay the full brochure rate. One of the nice things about Ponant is you do book early and you will always get the best price because we don't discount our rates close into sailing. And our friends and family savings. So if you've got a small group or a family group and they're booking 3 or more staterooms at the same time, they'll also save 5% on all of those bookings. Now, all of these offers are combinable. And the beauty of these is that you can combine everything, and you can also take advantage of our no single supplement special, which is available on over 100 cruises throughout our itineraries. So, and these are not just close-in cruises; these are cruises that are up to 2 years away. And so we always set aside a couple of cabins on many sailings for a no single supplement special, and those are all combinable features with these offers. And where you would find this offer, click on our website, and in the upper right corner, you would just click on the offer tab that you see, and it will produce a laundry list of what our current offers are. And you can see there the no single supplement. And if you were to click through that, it's real easy then to drill down by date or by destination to make sure you can easily look for your client to see what where they want to go and when. And then you'll see whatever other current offers we have in the market at the time. So it's a great place to start looking for your clients for a deal. So let's take a look at our business development team. This is the Ponant support team around the country. We have Teresa Gata, our Vice President of Sales. Dale Woods handles sales in the Northeast. Yannetti Perez, based down in Florida, covers the Southeast. Preston, who you've obviously just met, handles the Central USA. Ellen McIlvain covers the Northwest for Ponant, based in Portland. I cover Southern California and the Southwest. We have Erica Barber, who handles the Quebec region, and Vanessa Lee and Olga cover the rest of Canada. Rita Shanik will be our Director of Groups, and then Catherine Bryn is the Director of our Reservations Center. And with that, I want to thank you for your time today, and we really appreciate it. And I'm going to pass it back to Anna to see if we have any questions.
Perfect. Thank you. We do have a few questions coming in. Our first one is from Amber, who is wondering if you can review which sailings the no single supplement applies to. So Preston, if you could answer that, please.
Absolutely. So right now we have over 100 sailings with that no single supplement policy, and they're for sailings all over the world. The way that the no single supplement offer works is that instead of a solo traveler paying that 200% upcharge, that 200% upcharge is waived entirely. So they'll pay the same price as somebody who's paying a double occupancy price, but they get the room to themselves. We normally have that policy on new sailings, and then over time, as that ship starts to fill up, then that offer may or may not go away. Right now, we have a lot of sailings all over the world, including some of our expedition higher price point sailings. So it's a great time for a solo traveler to look at Ponant cruises.
Okay, got it. And this question is from Jordan. I know that David just mentioned that children under 11 sail free, and Jordan is wondering what the minimum age for children is on board.
Thanks for the question, Jordan. And I'm actually going to defer to Preston because he probably knows that answer better than I do.
So the minimum ages is 5 years for our polar expedition sailings. So that's in Antarctica and in the Arctic, and it's 3 years for all other sailings. Now, if you have a family traveling with us with a young child who may not be quite that minimum age, but they're not too far from it. So let's just say the minimum age is 3, but they may be 2.5. Don't be discouraged by that. Reach out to your local sales director. We can ask the captain on board directly because they're the ones responsible for everybody on board. And then they can give us a yay or nay on whether that child can travel. So those are the minimum ages, but it really just depends on whether the captain is comfortable with them sailing. So reach out to us if that's a question.
Okay, understood. Our next question is from Dana, who is wondering if Ponant ships are wheelchair accessible. So David, would you mind taking that one?
I'm actually going to still defer to Preston on this one because he's had more experience and I'm relatively new with the company.
Got it.
No problem. So yes, Ponant is very wheelchair accessible. We have elevators in the forward, mid, and aft part of the vessels. We have wheelchair accessible rooms as well. We have handicap accessibility all over the vessel. So the answer would be yes. And we do have a few wheelchairs on board as well. The nice thing is that marina, that trifold submersible marina that David showed us earlier, that's in the aft part of the Explorer vessels, we can actually even get a wheelchair on the Zodiac, just because we're able to level that Zodiac and make it stable enough. So yes, we are, absolutely.
Got it. And our next question is from Elise, who is wondering if Ponant is still offering Sicily-only itineraries.
I can certainly say yes, because I just researched that for a client. So yes, we offer a wonderful itinerary that goes completely around Sicily. And I believe they are round trip from Valletta, Malta. So it makes for a very unique starting and ending point, as well as about 8 days just going around Sicily only.
Okay.
And I just want to add a quick thing on that. My last Ponant experience was actually in Sicily and southern Italy as well. So yes, they're round trip from Malta. They're wonderful experiences. Those Sicily stops are incredible, and you will eat way too much food. That's a guarantee. But they're great ports. So yes.
Okay, sounds amazing. And we have just one more question from Jerry, who is wondering if you can speak to the dress code on board and also what the languages spoken on board are. So Preston, can you take those?
Yes, absolutely. So the dress code on board, I would say, is country club casual. There is no formal dress code. But if you want to know what most of the guests on board wear, I'd say country club casual is probably the most common. So if you have a polo shirt and slacks, then that's plenty formal for the dining room in the evenings. For the traditional yachting itineraries, we normally do one formal night, although it is optional, so you don't have to dress in a tuxedo or anything. We do have one of those for our traditional yachting itineraries, but for our expedition itineraries, we don't, because space is a little bit more limited when you're packing. So of course you don't want to take up a lot of space with a suit or a dress. But overall, I'd say country club casual is perfect. And if you want to dine a little bit more casually, like with a t-shirt and shorts, I'd recommend the outdoor patio grill. And that's a more informal, comfortable setting. And in terms of the dress code, and what was the other portion of that?
The languages spoken on board.
Thank you very much. So we are fully bilingual in both English and French. I would say English has really become the 1A and French the 1B, but they're both spoken on board pretty much in equal measure. An exception to that would be our Smithsonian Journey sailings. Those are definitely going to be a lot more English focused because they are catered towards the North American market. So if you have a client who would prefer to travel with other native English speakers, then the Smithsonian Journey program would probably be a good fit for them, because we're going to minimize the French as much as possible and just focus on the English. On a traditional sailing, it's done in both English and French. The announcements are done in both languages. All of the labeling is in both languages. Everybody on board is bilingual in both languages. So there's not going to be any kind of a language barrier at all.
Okay, got it. And those are all of our questions. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And thank you, Preston and David, for all of the wonderful information.
Well, thank you for having us, Anna.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody.
Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Bye.